What do you get when you put DiCaprio and Ruffalo in the same movie? I'll tell you what, a Scorsese masterpiece.
Which would be worse? To live as a monster? Or to die as a good man?
Shutter Island is one of my favorite psychological thrillers with a plot twist that I think about to this day. Some people might think this is a very different project for Scorsese since he likes to focus more on gangs, New York City, and of course violence. But this is actually nothing new for him. I'd even argue that more than anything, Scorsese likes to make films about complex characters. And boy, is this character complex.
You really think you're gonna convince me I'm crazy, huh?
Despite the dark and heavy themes, Shutter Island is a beautiful film. Beautiful shots, beautiful dialogue.
So this female prisoner.
Patient.
Excuse me, patient.
And of course, beautiful performances. And it's an excellent example of foreshadowing in film, specifically through dialogue. It all starts with Teddy Daniels, played by Leonardo DiCaprio, investigating a case with his partner, Chuck, aka Dr. Sheehan, played by Mark Ruffalo. The movie takes you on a wild and confusing journey.
I'm sorry, ma'am. I don't know what you're talking about.
But at the same time, it engages you in every frame. If you've seen the movie, then you know that Teddy's entire journey was a role-play therapy put together by a team of doctors to try and heal his trauma.
You've been here for 2 years, a patient of this institution.
And if Teddy didn't recover, then the alternative would be a lobotomy. Of course, all of this becomes clear towards the end of the film, but the rest of the time, we were made to believe that Teddy was actually sane and a great detective. But this is why rewatching Shutter Island is such a great idea, because you notice all the foreshadowing and the small attention to detail by the cast and crew that communicate what's really going on the entire time.
Action!
Teddy Daniels and his partner Chuck are on their way to a mental institution to investigate the case of a missing patient named
Rachel Solando.
who supposedly escaped out of a locked room.
We don't know how she got out of her room. It was locked from the outside.
Over time, Teddy becomes suspicious of the doctors, but eventually we find out that Teddy is actually a patient there, undergoing therapy in an attempt to help him confront his guilt over his wife's death.
Your name is Andrew Ladis, the 67th patient at Ashcliffe. He's you, Andrew.
And interestingly, the foreshadowing also starts from this very scene. If you pay attention, all the characters observe Teddy the whole time and behave suspiciously around him. This is a subtle clue that everyone is more interested in Teddy than the missing patient. This is because they're monitoring Teddy's progress during therapy. Something that's not subtle though is Teddy's nightmares and hallucinations. But to the viewer, this just feels like he's mourning the death of his wife or something other than the fact that he killed his own wife. For this next one, we have to go back to the first scene.
You act like insanity is catching.
I love this line because first of all, DiCaprio's acting here is just phenomenal. But also here, he convinces you that he's normal and healthy. It also makes him look like a good person who doesn't see himself as superior to the other patients. He deceives us and distracts us from trying to predict the ending. Also to me, this was quite ironic since his wife was crazy and drowned their kids, and so he also turned crazy and killed her because of her actions. So in a way, her insanity caught up to him. This is my favorite one, and I got goosebumps when I was watching it back.
And personally, Doctor, I'd have to say screw their sense of calm.
The reason I love this line so much is because number one, it tells me that deep down, Teddy sees himself responsible for what happened. He knows the price of insanity and he accepts it, which makes me lean more towards the theory that in the end, he knew what he was doing and what he was signing up for.
The script was given to me, it was late at night, and I was reading it, and it was one style of picture, and then it became another and became another, until finally this last scene, how the character resolved itself character of Teddy Daniels resolves himself. And I was very moved by it.
And number 2, you could also say he's selfish. He has no sympathy for the patients or victims. He sees the world in black and white and sees himself as the patient's superior. And if this is the case, then the ending is satisfying because he gets what he deserves. This is clever writing.
Seriously, Doctor, how is it possible that the truth never gets through to her?
To me, this is Teddy talking to himself, trying to figure out how he can recover and accept his fate. No matter how hard or how many times the doctors try to explain to Teddy that he should confront his demons and try to heal, he just can't do it. He doesn't want to see the truth.
You're the most dangerous patient we have. You've injured orderlies, guards, other patients.
And that's why he came up with this fake identity as a coping mechanism.
Survival instincts are defense mechanisms.
There are so many more lines and scenes that hinted at what's to come.
Sanity is not a choice. Marshall, you can't just choose to get over it.
You can never take away all a man's memories.
When I cut her, she screamed. But she scared me. What did she expect?
There's a lot of hint at water and drowning, foreshadowing what happens to Teddy's kids.
We submerged them in icy water until they lost consciousness or even drowned.
Another clever hint at this is again in the first few scenes where Teddy feels seasick.
Today I'm a little more prone to seasickness.
Ah, dehydration.
One of the best ways to produce an unforgettable movie is through engaging and clever dialogue. And this is why we should give credit to screenwriters, editors, and everyone else involved in producing a film, and not just the actors or the director.